Hey, hiya. Welcome to One Page Story Extravaganza, episode 180 of 2023. I am your host, Christopher Runciman. Okay, let's get crack-a-lackin', what shall we? Pull that out of there. All right, so this is today's page. This is today's page. It is, the suggestion came from the London Con, where I was last weekend. And was it last weekend or the weekend before? Time, huh? It's not a constant anymore. Before I get into this, before we get in one of those the foot is in the other shoe situations, let's just share some story ideas with each other and call it a day. All right, so here we go. The page today. I drew yesterday. I pretty much did the whole page except for the borders and the text. So it was a productive day. The suggestion was from Matthew Griffin, and it was a person discovers that they are just like a famous superhero in many ways. And so the original art for this is what I drew yesterday during the stream. Now, what I tried to do is draw an ink page, an ink image, and then transfer it over onto another surface with the jelly plate. Like somebody that I've been watching their videos says it's easy to do, and they make it look easy to do. But I don't know what the transitional step is that they're taking, that it is not working with any kind of ink I've tried. And I've done a whole bunch of them today. A whole bunch of paint and ink for no reason at all. So it didn't work. However, we made do with what we found, and I will figure that out. But we made do with what we had put together, and took the magenta page that I now rolled over the original drawing, and went at it with some white, some blue paint. Pulled the image back out again, and there we go. So, trial and error, folks. If at first you don't succeed, put the foot in the other shoe and off you go. Okay. All right, so I'm going to switch cameras, and then let's get talking about a couple of books. Book show. This is my sketchbook. Okay. So I've done some jelly plates into sketchbooks now, and I've got some images that I've got laid out in here. So I'll be doing some page work inside this book, and I'm just having fun in general. So more to come on that front, huh? Today I got some books to show. So I've got some things I want to show you. And to start off with, let's go, a guy who was really impactful on me as a kid. So, John Byrne. Now, John Byrne was one of those artists that was incredibly popular back in the day. And see, it's supposed to be a wraparound cover. Okay, so he was one of those really influential artists for me. And the big ones in the 70s, early 70s to late, or early 70s to early 80s, I guess you would say. For me, there was Byrne, there was Perez, there was, a lot of the older guys that were still carrying on. But at the same time, and then I got into guys like Paul Smith and people that do not get enough appreciation, like including Paul Smith. So this is a book that talks all about Byrne. You get into some history, you get into some interviews, there's a signature. Now, if you're in England, there are two John Byrnes born in England. One is the fine arts painter and illustrator John Byrne, who large drawings, large paintings, right? Very successful British artist. And then there's the sequential illustrator John Byrne, sequential illustrator and writer, because by the I think it's 86 or 87 when they relaunched DC Comics to basically start like the universe was starting over again. They gave John Byrne the ability to just completely launch Superman as though it's a new book. So quite the writer and artist, but his work was just something that was brilliant. This is the Canadian, for those that don't know. That's our Canadian superhero team from Marvel Comics. These are all Canadian superheroes, and that includes Wolverine from the X-Men. And, John Byrne created those suckers too. So So here's some of his Superman stuff. He did the Days of Future Past story arc and the X-Men, which was massive. This is some of his solo created materials. Just a body of work, a really big body of work, and fantastic ability to illustrate all kinds of different shapes and sizes of people and give everybody real solid characterization. And in my opinion, as much as Kirby is king, I love the way Byrne drew the New Gods characters. Just something about how he drew them all. They made them make so much sense. Anyhow, for me, one of those impactful artists. So I thought I'd show you that. And just to show you the level of ability this guy had, this is Generations, Superman and Batman, the Generations Omnibus. This is if Superman and Batman appeared in the 1930s and continued. And so it's all about how their impact and influence on that contextual reality, 1939, how their impact on that contextual reality would affect that generations to come. So there he is. There he is at the beginning. There's Lois Lane. He can leap a quarter mile. Batman carried a gun in the first few episodes, but they've eliminated that. Anyhow, it's just the absurdity of the day, and it just carries forward with the characters on and on and on. But we get a Luthor ages over time, but eventually we're full-blown into contemporary times and beyond. Joker as an old man, and then we get into the future. And all the way up to the 30th century, and this is where those Legion of Superheroes characters come in. So it's really interesting stuff, a lot of fun adventure, but this is entirely done by one guy. Well, I mean, there's colorists, etc., but John Byrne, once again, big impact. Here's another artist that impacted me on our book tour. This is Patrick Woodroffe, Woodroffe. This is Hallelujah Anyways. Now, this is the book that hit me. The book that hit me was the second Pentateuch. I haven't been able to find a copy of it since. I've got all three of his other books, but I don't have the second Pentateuch. Patrick Woodroffe, British artist again. Fantastic artist. Fantastic ability. Wonderful work. Uses a whole bunch of mediums. These are ink drawings with oils. And just the quality of the line work and this wonderful diffusion of the light around the objects. Love it. Stippling, all kinds of business, lots of lovely crosshatch. But this is how I know Woodroffe's work. He was the only person that I knew that drew in silver point. And if you don't know what silver point is, it's a piece of a little microfilament of silver. You put it into a pencil holder, and you take a piece of board, and you gesso it. Gesso it one direction, let it dry. Gesso it a different direction, let it dry. Give it a little sanding so it's nice and flat. And then you take this silver that's within a pencil holder, and you draw your image on it. And so it looks like graphite. But what happens is, as it oxidizes, all these lovely colors come out of it. And it's really quite interesting. But he's the only artist that I've ever known that draws in silver point, especially as much as he does. Now, his anatomy's not perfect, but by goodness, look at that, So, very 60s, 70s, a little bit of grown-up stuff there. Anyways, so what he would continue on to do next is paint fairies. Right? This is the next sort of stage of his thing, is that he paint these little fairy constructions with these little layers on board or cardstock or whatever it was, and he'd cut them out. And he would put them into actual scenes, like he would shoot them in his garden, or he would make little three-dimensional dioramas like this that would sit off of the wall. But just this fantastic way of seeing. So here is a tomograph. So here's a photo of his fantastical creature with these apples and these branches, three-dimensional real things, and his magical creature in the midst of them to try to make it look like it's contextually real. So Here's another one of constructions. It's actually got three-dimensional objects. And again, crazy creatures. And here he is outside in his garden, putting these little bird people that he's created into the garden. And the image that's beside it, that's entirely illustrated in oil. So, I mean, like here again, we've got him shooting photography with these characters located in the images. Woodruff was just another level. And see here, there you go. If you want context, there's your context. So there he is with the Little Mermaid. There's his actual hands in his shirt, as though she's a realistic character. Anyways, Patrick Woodruff. Love his work. Look him up. He's a lot of fun. Fantastic. Here's a guy playing big drums on the top of a mouse that's flying through the air. You know, because that happens. Just great stuff. Really great stuff. And, you know, it's a little mini elephant snail hanging from a tree. And just, you know, they say that, oh, you got to do a lot of drugs to draw stuff like that. That's not the case in a guy like this. This is the case of just pure free-form imagination and how you can apply it out there in the world. Now, I'm going to get into this more tomorrow. I got a book on touring artist studios, and that includes Close, Daniel Close, Seth, Robert Crumb. There's a whole... Let me see if I can find the list. Robert Crumb, Art Spiegelman, Gary Panter, Charles Burns, Jaime Hernandez, Daniel Close, Seth, Chris Ware, and Ivan Bernetti. Seth just passed away. Okay, so I'll be showing you that tomorrow. However, before that, many of those artists are in here. There's Jaime Hernandez. There's Art Spiegelman, Robert Crumb, right? Anyhow, so what this is, comic art. So this is a collection of the unholy marriage of art and comics. So this talks about all kinds of different styles and different work and some fantastic exploratory essays on stuff. You know, and it just gives you a nice look at different variations on the form, different ways that people would do stuff. Little collectibles. There's the Yellow Kid. That's created by Richard Oakholt in 18-something or nothing. And one of the earliest, maybe the earliest sequential printed newspaper character. So just crazy, fun, interesting stuff, interesting ways of approaching illustration. You know, and how each of them did it. So, and the beginning said a feature on this artist here. So, lots and lots of stuff. No gross. I love this book. This is another one of these things where you learn so much. I mean, look at these crazy things. That's Yo. Yeah, that's Yo. This is registered U.S. Patent Office. Extreme it up. And he's drawing these on top of these illustrative pages that were sent to be for kids to do stuff on. And he's doing this crazy stuff. Tired, drowsy, exhausted. Yeah. Good fun. There's one in a bright Dayglow colors. Look at that. Okay, so these are some cool books I wanted to show you today. Tomorrow I've got a book that's all about breaking down panels in sequential art and illustration. And it talks about all those independent processes of that. It's called How to Read Nancy. I'll be showing you that. I'll be showing some Paul Smith work from the other artists that I really enjoyed growing up, as well as the In the Studio book by Todd Ignite, and how he interviews all of those creators that I listed off. And so for those of you that like some of those creators, and I know some of you do, cool beans. Okay, so I mentioned this earlier. I have started to do the brayer off on pages in my sketchbook in order to give me the beginning of something to work on. I'm looking forward to it. I'm itching to get at it. So today is 3-prompt Tuesday. So we've got some prompts to work from. I got a few of them actually. So this is the other sketchbook that I did some printing in, and I'm getting better at things working the way that I want them to, and transferring some text and things like that. So I'm pleased with what I'm learning with jelly plating, but at the same time, I'm pushing it really, really hard about trying to learn whatever I can on it. So, okay. So we've got dally, flying, toothbrush, sandals, triangle, folk art. I kind of like sandals, triangle, folk art. And the reason that I think maybe of those two that sticks out to me is as fun as it is to have, oh, and the other one was Swirls, Mouse, and Warhol. Now, Warhol and Dali are interesting, but they're also not. You know, what somebody's going to draw a melting toothbrush. You know, okay. Well, so I think before I get into that, let's take a look at these. Sandals, triangle. Now, I did a pyramid before, but I didn't do a triangle. And folk art. That's kind of fun. I don't know if you've looked up anything about folk art, specifically American folk art, but there is a lot of cool, crazy stuff out there. And things that people do that are really interesting, like painting on sandals. You know, whatever it is. So we're going to explore that a little bit today. So I've done some more jelly plating, some experiments, and doing some stuff. Things are coming together. This was supposed to be a crowd at a rock concert, and then I put some bugs, stars on it. This is a really bad astronaut transfer. You know, we're finding and I've shown you. The rest of it's pretty much stuff you've seen. So I'm finding some interesting shapes and forms. But yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there with stuff. Anyhow, what's our sandals, triangle, and folk art is our 3 words for our prompt today. So let's explore that. Oh, there's a new one. I haven't shown you. There's another one. I like that color. Ain't that pretty? I'll only a bitcha. Chris says, hi there. Sorry, I'm not paying attention to streaming people here. I apologize. I'm about to enter my classes. Just drop by to say, have a good day. You as well, Chris. Please, and thank you very much for coming by. Super cool. Super cool. All right, so, yeah. So here's some of these things. I'll show you this. Here's some of these random things that I've been talking about, like doing drawings on different pieces of paper in ballpoint pen, and then I try to transfer them to jelly plating, and it doesn't work. But that's okay, because this is just more surfaces that we can draw on, right? And that's kind of part of the fun. Like these random scribbles that are on here, I don't know about you, I don't know how well you can see them either, but some of these random scribbles and shapes that are on here, to me, that looks like a night sky in a forest. So that's what we're using. Maybe not. We'll see. Unless there's any other of these color pages that people saw that they say, do a page on that, Chris. Okay, sandals, triangle, folk art. So that's our 3 things for today. So I hope everybody's been having a good day. I hope that everybody is feeling like things are going the way that you are hoping them to. There's a lot of challenges in the world these days, and I hope everybody's keeping up, keeping smiling. Okay, I think I'm going to work on this, because, yeah, here it is. So, yeah. All right, so let's see. If anybody has any announcements, feel free to tell us. Hi, Christopher. Hi, Miriam. How you doing? Okay, sandals, triangle, folk art. That's our subject matter today. So that sounds like fun. I'm glad that Janet got these are the testers for the Zine Swap books that I sent to Janet Young. So I'm glad she got those. And anybody else that's working on your zines, get them finished. Get them in. We're getting close here, folks. We're getting close. I'm going to play with this a little bit, I think, today. So sandals, triangle, folk art. Yeah, why not? Let's have fun. So, yeah, if anybody's got stuff that they're working on today, please feel free to let us know. And I would love to hear it. There's, there's only so much information that you can find to try to stay updated with what people are doing. So if you get avenues in order to say, hey, I'll be brushing my teeth at 3 a.m., whatever, tell people, here's a way for you to do it. And so let's do this one, because it looks like the beach. And I'm just looking up a picture that I thought, oh, it looks like the beach. So let's use that. Yeah, all right, we're all in it together. So let's just get cracking. So I'm working. Miriam says that Janet already has hers. That's cool. Super cool. Looking forward to that. I've seen some of these on the interwebs, and some of these are looking awesome sauce. All right, so I'm gonna draw across here, or you know what? Why don't I just do this? You're crazy. Yeah, control. Okay. Sandals, triangle, folk art. So this is again a Brayer-off page that I have, and why not use those? Miriam says I wasn't brushing my teeth at 3 a.m. Well, that's good. Yeah, it's important that you're sleeping at some point. So, okay, so I'm going to draw somebody putting on their sandals. We're going to utilize this associative color of the orange and the yellow. And so we're going to talk about doing some folk art of your sandals. Why not? We've got to start somewhere. But I'm going to start with having some, personal elaborate hair and very beach, hippy-dippy kind of a vibe, kind of an aesthetic. A lot of folk artists are outliers. They're people that don't fit into the normal form. So they tend to do folk art as a means of self-expression because they have a hard time communicating with people in the world around them. They're compelled to make art. Uh-oh. There's a lady who's sure all that glitters is gold, and she's buying a stairway to London. Hiya, Jim Luan. How you doing, buddy? Jimmy, you got any... hey, man, how's your movie going? Episode's coming up. You want to tell anybody about... You got any stuff, hip-hop happening there? Just want to share with all the kids out there in America, the world, Canada, potato salad. I really enjoy Jim's work. If you're here, and I really enjoy Miriam's work. If you want to see her building a really, really cool haunted house, check out Miriam's stream. And if you want to see the process of Jim putting together his latest animated project, check out his stream. Might do a Hey Man next week and chugging away. Oh, that's good news. I like that. I like that a lot. Look forward to seeing what you're up to. Okay, so I'm just drawing in our first person here, and then we'll get down to figuring out our narrative. But I thought I'd start off by having somebody putting sandals on. Wow, Chris, that's deep. Where'd you come up with some deep thoughts like that? So, what's new in Chris's world? Last night, we went to a grocery store. Anyways. And we found... So I walked by this cooler, and I look in this cooler, and it says... all I see is all of these coffee additive products, and I don't even think about it. But there's a jar of pickles on here. on the one shelf. And so as Lori comes around the corner, I said, "Hey, which of these three do you want to try out?" And she goes, "Oh, wow, yeah, that's great." And she starts looking at the coffee additives. And I'm trying to make a pickle joke. I have no idea. I didn't actually look at what was on the shelf. But we found the mother lode of pumpkin spice cookies and coffee creamers and Cool Whip, Pie Whip, or whatever you call that. Just baking dough to make your own pumpkin spice cookies. Anyways, this whole cooler is the thing that I've been looking for a couple of weeks because I really like pumpkin flavored things. And here I'm pointing out pickles and completely oblivious to the fact that the entire thing's pumpkin flavored stuff. So, chalk one up for Chris's obliviousness. The last thing you're doing is an outhouse. Oh my gosh, that's great. Okay, so I'm drawing somebody here as they're putting in their sandals. They're putting their sandals on. Just messing with them. I put their shoulder there because I didn't like that. So I've got the knee. Here's the first arm coming on up, and then we'll have them tying on the shoes. So, and if I don't know, maybe the sandal's broken. So if you can't use the sandal like that, why don't we make some art on it? There you go, folk art. So, yeah. Deep is the well of my creativity. You draw the beach? Yeah. So yesterday's page, I was quite pleased with how that went. I did pretty much the entire page during the stream, just because I really just went nuts and loose and just went for it. So it was a lot of fun. And thank you, everybody that came by yesterday. I hope that it was as much fun for you as clearly I was having. But those moments where you just forget the safety net, forget just draw with abandon. You're making marks. You're trying to do something. You're trying to tell some kind of story. That's the job, right? And so with that in mind, don't be too hung up on specificity, or don't be too hung up on it being perfect, because it's not going to be. Just work. Just do your thing. Okay, so I've got the hands as they're dealing with the sandal. Pardon me, I'm a little grippy here today. So I'm going to draw some toes, and then so we've got them putting their shoe on, and then of course we've got to move the form back here a little bit so that we can, lean into the fact that they're sitting on a chair here, and we'll draw the arm in the chair. But there's the cushion, so we want to make sure that that's indenting with the body's weight. Kind of trying to draw this at a bit of an angle, just to skew the perspective just a little bit, so it's sort of moving and receding at the same time. So this is the part where you really need to access that photo file you have inside your noggin, where rather than sitting there looking at, don't waste the time looking at the picture of a chair. Just, if there isn't a chair in the space that you're in, just think of what a chair is. Close your eyes if you have to, and consider chair, and then draw chair. Again, not a lot of deep explanations coming out of today, I'm sorry. Okay, so I've got her trying to put on a shoe. So I'll put the front piece of that shoe there. And so the suggestion that we have in mind is that, or I have in mind anyways, is that the shoe is broken. So now the second leg needs to come out. So, but this is establishing our character right off the hop, and we're going to force them to have a contributing motivator for this short story, and that contributing motivator for today is going to be broken shoe, broken sandal. So forget it. We're not going to the beach. Can't go to the beach. Don't have sandals. I don't know what the rules are of beaching. I know that some do it more than others. So here's the second foot. Just thinking about that form. We'll draw a sandal on this foot. Now, if you need to look up a sandal, look up a sandal. If you need to, whatever you need to do for your drawing, there are no rules that say there's a specific way you have to go about making whatever it is that you're making. You make your art. You do your thing. You tell your stories. You ride around in the cheetah on your back. Thank you, Roger Miller. So here's the other leg from our chair. So, I mean, with something like this, we don't really have to show the entirety of the scene because we're establishing somebody putting their shoes on and the dilemma that is in that situation. So it's not necessary for us to have to draw the whole background and here's a lamp and a table. You can. It's your thing. Do as much complexity as you feel the need to. But I'm going to jump ahead, and the reason I'm going to jump ahead is that I want you to focus on the action of the shoes more so than worrying about a larger scene, a larger contextual narrative. So that is why I'm just plonking ahead here. So again, considering the crazy angle that we've put the image on, because we're looking at it from a skewed perspective. So we'll put the back of said chair in there. And my intent is for this to run along within a panel, within the confines of a panel. So, yeah. So we can put our text and our intro, whatever, around our person. We've got the shoes going here. We can put some shadow on the floor if we want. We can, just so it's not free floating in space. There's no real rule to it. Just whatever it is, whatever the things you're setting up, stick with them. Like if there's a high contrast shadow that's putting, or the high contrast light source, that's putting shadow onto this chair, then it would put shadow onto the foot and the shoe. It would put some dispensation of value over here on the furniture as well. So just keep those things in mind as you're illustrating. Am I missing stuff? Nope, I'm on top. Woohoo! If anybody has any questions at any given time, feel free to say, "Hey, Chris, what's the matter with you, man?" Or whatever it is you want to ask. I'm good. Okay, so, and that, we'd also have a shadow here that would cast across the knee. If we were to color this, there'd be a different value on this side of the leg than this value, the value on this side of the leg. I mean, this would be shadow here as well. I'm going to have a heavy shadow under the neck, right? Cast shadow from the hair. There's all those little things to consider. If you've got wherever your source is, figure out how your source affects the space, the rest of the image, and make those adjustments as you do. Okay, so here's our lady putting her shoe on. Janet's joined us. Hiya, Janet. Welcome aboard. I was just telling everybody here, well, whoever's here, and that get your zines in for the zine swap. Okay, so here is our person putting on their sandal. Really elaborate, eh? It's, you know, we're just going for it. So now we're going to do, so if I establish that that's our first panel, you know what? I'm going to do open face panels today. It's an open face panel, Chris. Man, am I glad you asked me that. So this is a panel that doesn't have boundaries. The images are all one beside the next, and so on and so forth. But there's no real definitive separation from one shape to the other. Although maybe I'll put like a white line there, but I'm not going to have hard shaped panels on this page. We're going to give it a go that way, so that we're trying something different. Always got to try something different. I'm going to put leggings on this person, so I'm going to put a little seam there, a little cuff. That's what I'm looking for. Cuffing. All right, so we're drawing our hand in. I'm using the eraser a lot today. I don't normally. So curious to see what people are working on and what they're doing, as usual. If anybody's got stuff they want to chat about, feel free to do so. Let's see. It's almost the end of September. And as the end of December, I can't. You just dropped in to see what condition my condition was in? Hi. Thanks for stopping by, Janet. It was nice of you. Okay, so it's almost the end of September. And so I am going to have to start doing the book promo stuff now. And I'm excited to do that. But at the same time, it's all very sort of new and interesting. And, you know, we're going to see how this goes. Because it's not something that I've done too much of. So I'm going to put the Toesy Wosies. Try to remember that it's not just lines between toes. They're forms. They're small little bulbous forms that are at the end of your foot here. So try to make sure that you've got some of those nice rounded shapes at the bottom as you're working. So, okay, so I'm finishing. We're going to soften that a little bit so it's not so arched. So I'm coming in here really quick with the pencil, and we're going to put this together as fast as we can before we decide how we're going to do our finishes on this. So like this. So we're going to have that strap moving across there. And then we've got a strap that goes across these toes here. Right? And that's what we drew that on our first panel. Hey, don't forget the toenails. So we'll put this strap going across. So 3 Prompt Tuesday is something I'm doing each week now. So, you know, welcome to join in any old time. Wendy says, hi, Christopher. Hi, Wendy. How are you? Welcome aboard. Miriam asks, your book is an anthology of the drawings you did during the year or new ones? Yeah, so it's going to be 60 pages pulled from this year. Now, I've done, today's page is number 260, I don't know what. Sorry, I think 266. Something like that, I don't remember. But since the start of the year. So we've picked 60 pages that'll be in this first anthology, and I'm looking forward to getting that out. I haven't, there's a strange feeling of productivity for me when I've got material coming out because, you're always working, but there's nothing coming from that, right? And it's been a year and a half already since the last book came out that I did. And this is my 31st book, so you can see how that pace has changed a little bit since some of those earlier releases. But this is also the first book that is going to be available internationally. So, Wendy says, feet and hands always get me. They always look like stuffed sausages. That's great. Feet and hands are the same as anything else. It sounds so flippant, but bear with me. So if you look at everything as this, okay, you look at everything as these three shapes. And when you look at everything as these three shapes, you start to realize certain things about shapes. Is that feet are just variations on these three forms. And as soon as you figure that out, then it changes the way that you look at feet. And so as soon as you start figuring out everything around you can be broken down to these three shapes. I mean, even a tree, when you look at a tree and you see that bark that moves on into these tubular shapes that move up and get smaller as they go. If you look at those tubular shapes, there's a whole bunch of squares, but when you look at them from the top down, or when you look at the finishes on them, you've got to remember that they're circular. As soon as you start realizing that this is just a whole bunch of circles piled up, trees stop becoming a thing, and then you sort of, there's some of those triangles kicking in now. So as soon as you start taking consideration for things like that, then you shouldn't have anything holding you back from drawing feet or anything else, right? Those three shapes. So I'll leave that up there. Write those down. And here's the mind blower. Look around the room. Look around the room you're in. Hiya, Anne. Welcome aboard. Look around the room you're in and break everything around you in the room that you're in into those shapes. And when you start to realize, okay, here is a leaf, right? I didn't just pull it off my plant. It's a plastic plant because, I'm a guy. I'm really good at watering. So this is a leaf. There's a triangular part of the form, but then there's also a circular part of the form that overlaps. And as soon as you start putting those shapes together and allowing that overlap right here, then you start to develop, the leaf form. And then when you start looking at the fact that all these veins that are throughout the leaf, they're triangles, and then the more sophisticated you get in your drawing, you're going to put nice shaped contour lines on things. You're going to do nice little rounded shapes within things. And but look around your wherever you are right now and look for those three shapes. Wendy says, good advice and practice, practice, practice. That's how you get the Carnegie Hall. I said, did you pull it off a plant? No, it's a plastic plant. I have some plastic plants in my studio because my studio is in the downstairs of the house, and real plants, no. But at the same time, I want some greenery in here, so I've got some plastic plants. I talk to them every day. How are you two feeling today, Mr. Snuggles? They never say anything back. Would real plants say anything back? I don't know. Okay, so I'm drawing the hands, and I'm breaking up the form of the hands into these little shapes. So when you start looking at those hands, there's your square, big square here. You've got your rounded joints. You've got your small rectangular shapes there. You've got, there's a rough triangular shape of the spread of the fingertips, right? All kinds of stuff. It's just trial and error. It's just looking at everything and trying. I like plastic plants because I can't kill them. And Wendy says, I'm like you and plastic for me. I can't kill them. And then Miriam says, I can't stand plastic plants. Yeah, I can't stand not having greenery around me is the problem. And because of where my studio in the house is located, it's plastic all the way. And we're not talking about an egregious amount. I have numerous copies of the same plant throughout the space. So it looks like, wow, he's really good at making plants grow to look exactly alike each other. So now I'm putting in the strap piece that is broken off of the shoe. And so what we can do to push this is to have the shoe flop down so that there's no support here. And then we'll have, let me think. So let's say if this is a strap here, then we'll have this strap piece lying like so. And then that tells us, shoe no make you worky. And then we can put some of the form and some of the shapes into the top of the foot and some of those indentations that we know are there and all that elaborate business, or we can just get on. So these are the floating hands from space that are working to put the shoe on. We'll put the legging. So all this is at this point is looking at our previous drawing of the couch and person in front of the couch putting their shoes on and just trying to continue some of that information. Right, we've got the underhanging part underneath our chair. We can draw that seam in here. For the bottom of the chair. And we're just scaling up as the image is scaled up. Just put that in because we're going to leave room for text here. I'm imagining that text goes over here, right? On those little parts. Or 3D, a cube, or yeah, oh, exactly. A cube cylinder. Got a cube, a triangle, and a cube, a pyramid, and a cone. That's what, yeah. You are missing one strap. I am and I am not. There's the broken lower part, and then there's the broken upper part. I'll figure it out. I don't wear this kind of shoe. If you get one of my zines, you're getting sausage hands, Wendy says. Well, I'm looking forward to that. Wendy, that might become your signature hand. Hey, have you ever read any books by Wendy Sausage Hand Benson? Hey, you want to be called Sausage Hands? I'll put this in here for you so that there's no question as to whether or not there's a second part that should arc over. And we'll bend that around the form. So I'll hold this up in a second, just like I did the last one. And I'm considering, as I'm not scribbled all over my thing, I do that. Some of the other parts of this image is that we've got our two pants here, but we know for a fact that there's shadow from here. We've got shadow trying to spread through this space as well. So we'll carry that on. carry the shadow on here as well. It doesn't have to be perfect. Don't worry about perfect. We are storytellers. We're not perfect people. Do everything perfect. We don't have time for that in our quest to tell all of the stories that we can. So here's the cast shadow of the other foot that is now out of shot. You can put a piece of it right there. No, you can't, because that's where it's too low. This up here would be where this part of the sleeve is, and that is where that would attach. But we're just going to do this part. And then we continue this on up for our leg. See, it's just don't worry about things too much. Just have fun. Draw some sausage fingers and go. Eventually you won't draw sausage fingers, but Carnegie Hall, huh? And eventually the foot will be in the other shoe. Anyways. Slim Dream. Oh, that's is that Spanish or is that Israeli? Believe me, Anne, I could kill a plastic plant. I know it's a skill. That's impressive, Miriam. What can I say, Anne? Know who you are. Know your abilities. I can kill a plastic plant from 100 paces. Why? So we've got a really strong light. Anyways, when we take this on, we go into this finished image with color. If we do that, then this is where we can start to look at all these established patterns for value and how they change the initial values of things. So, okay, so we're gonna cap this shape of this panel off here. So we've got a person putting it on. Darn it, my shoe strap is snapped. So now we can draw our character with a kind of a face. So it's pretty straightforward, right? When you've got sandals, triangle, and folk art as your suggested words. I mean, we've already established the sandals, that's there. We're taking it towards the folk art route in our storytelling. But then we just have to incorporate triangular elements in the whole thing, which is fun, right? That's something fun and extra that we can do. I mean, we can even go so far as to be a little bit subversive and take things like, these are foam wedges, right? And foam wedges are really versatile and useful for a great deal of things when you're making some art. If you put some paint or ink down and dab the foam wedge in there, you can transfer some of these little pieces of paint or ink through your work, or you can use it as a smudger. There's a million things people I'm sure know, but it's also triangular shaped. So I mean, even just a repetitive triangular motif, like a triangular stamp in the back, without spending too much time getting, too caught up in it. I mean, just that alone is establishing the third element for our three prompts. So don't feel like you have to have somebody trying to put on, writing some wacky poetry and on the bottom of a muffin tin talking about your triangular sandals. And you don't have to be overly opaque, right? That's impressive, right? Really fun seeing your gel print. I'm out of print, or I'm out of frame. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I do that. So, anyways, there's our triangular, our motif. So we'll flip that over, and we'll put it on. So, but in the meantime, let's get some of this imagery down. So we've got our first two established images, and then we can now have another expression here of our principal character, and we'll zoom in just as we've zoomed in on this part. We're going to zoom in now on the person's face, as you know, and we're just looking back on the first image that we've drawn and just fleshing that out a little bit more. We don't necessarily have to look up some resource for that. We have an idea of how that face is shaped, and hopefully that's, let me hold that up again. I'm sorry for the second panel. So there's our first two panels down. And because this is a Breyer-off orange and yellow underneath, it's got this fun in the sun little pixelated values here. So, all right, so I'm looking back. I'm looking back at the first panel as I'm drawing her frustrated about her stupid shoes, right? Following the shapes of her face and having some fun. Playing with these shadows a little bit more. Too much zoom. I can count the hair in your hand, but not the Santas. I don't have any hairs in my hand. I am, well, I got a little bit down there, but I don't have any control over the zoom. It's a set place for this. I know other people have got a whole bunch of rigmarole going on with theirs. I have a $30 camera. And that's good enough for me for now. We'll figure it out more as we go along. But it's cost money. Okay, so because we're focusing on her expression, we can raise up her cheek a little bit. Open her mouth up a little bit, right? And then let's get some of these elements of her hair in here as well. Continue those lines along. Some of it moves across, some of it drops down. But we're not overly concerned on the finish here. We're going to do this is just our penciling, so I'm actually drawing it more tighter than I might normally. Yeah, I know some people that have this button things and it switches all your cameras and changes all your angles, and I am not there yet. But I've only really been doing the streams on a regular basis since the start of the year, so we'll get there. And I don't do any TikTok dances or show myself off in my fashion wear, so we're slowly growing as a group of creatives, and I prefer that anyhow. I can't get all that TikTok money or all that business because, well, I don't have the dance moves yet. You find me someone that does, and I probably find out they're 20, 30 years younger than me. Boy. Cut my chin the other day when I was shaving, or the side of my mouth, I'm sorry, over here, and it's taken days to heal, and so I've been growing this facial hair in that I don't want. So I'm looking forward to this, wrapping it up the next day or so I can shave my face off. Well, not shave my face off. I'm going to get rid of the whisker stuff. Okay, so here's our character. You know, we can have them say something nice like, oh, I like these shoes. Whatever it is, we'll figure that out as we're doing our dialogue. Okay, so where are we at? I'm missing stuff. Oh, you can't see the drawing. Oh, okay, well, I'll figure it out. Is it because it's too light? Is that what it is? Here you go. So there's the 3 stages so far. So follow that. Dividing the hair on up to here, and then we know where the top of their head is. Again, not too worried about all that detail yet. And that's where some of the shadow will be from the hair, right? And then some shadow under the neck. So again, when we do the next part, we'll figure that out. Okay, so there's our first 3 panels, and in our 4th panel, we want to put another shot of the same person. But let's go back to our first panel and recontextualize this scene here. We've been zooming in on aspects of it as we go through. And then now we're going to have our person sit up. Oh, Didi's joining us. Hey, Didi. Welcome forward. So now we can have our person sit up. And I'm debating on whether or not I have them brush their hair. Just give me a second. I'll figure that out. Throw that shoulder line in there. And so again, leaving the panels open and not worrying about drawing things to align or boxing in anything. We can blend colors across, or we can just do whatever we want. We're not too hung up on that front right now. We're just getting things laid in. So I know that others really like to plan that stuff out. I'm a go with the flow guy. So let's have the hand on top of the knee. And we'll have them. So we're going to cut off some of the body there. So we'll get the side of the leg in here. And then there's the leg. There's the side of the thigh. That'll tell us that there's shirt going down over here, over the hip. And then we can just do the upper body. Now, let's have her holding up the shoe, sandal. Okay. That's a crazy angle. And then the hip, and then the second leg, and the knee there. So just following the form, and then we know for a fact that we've got this chair leg that comes through and sits here. So now we've reconnected to this previously established image, and if we start to put a little bit of that back cushion in there as well, hey, we're all happy. I suppose I could put right here, if I run this line, that's where the other armchair is. I just started that. Working on editing some photos. Oh, Barbie's photography. Listening in. There we go. It wasn't live. Oops. Yeah. Get some Barbie photos. Fun stuff. You get a kick out of those. And tell all the other guys out there in the guy order of guyness that I get a kick out of seeing Dee Dee's Barbie photography. The Bears and Macho. I don't know. Yeah, so I have her. I'm going to sharpen this guy again because I'm getting tighter on the lines. So this is a pencil holder that I have here. And again, because I like novelty, it has a sharpener built in the butt of it. So no eraser, but a sharpener. It's just like this crazy sharpener that I use all the time. It's got an eraser built into it. See, there it is there. But every time you try to use it, it doesn't work. And that has been the telling of that joke for the 279th time. So here is our shoe shape. Shoe shape. Let's keep everything here shoe shape, huh? Thumb coming around it. Some fun little placements with the fingies. Okay, so now we have our person deciding that you can use this for some art. Anne says, your new Barbies are amazing, Dee Dee. I missed the show for the new Barbies. I must have missed it. It must be the start of a stream that I was late. I was late coming to yesterday's stream, so it must have been that. All right, so we've got a recurring motif here. Let's do this. So here's our triangle motif, our repetitive triangles. Right, and so this will be running. This pattern will be running through the back, with no reason whatsoever. And I'll just stamp. I'll just put ink or paint on these two, and just go whack, 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 like that. And just embed it into the colors in the background. Why not? So there's triangles, there is sandals, and maybe I'll paint on it. So now we're going to show, and this is where we're going to tie it back into the initial idea of somebody putting on their sandals as they're about to go to the beach. So then our final image will be the two sandals. Trying to think of a decorative sandal that relates to what we've illustrated here. But we'll put a nice beach drawing painted straight on that. Or would it be on the bottom? Probably be on the bottom. Yeah, so let's just do that. And then I'll put a little name tag on it. On the side, like this is mounted in an art gallery. So here's our two sandals, reversed from one another. We got the left on the right on the left. And then so what we'll do is that we will illustrate a nice beach scene right here on the image itself. There's the sand. Here's the water, and then there's the sky. And we can put in some tacky palm trees. those in there. All right, we'll put a little umbrella, stick it in the sand. But there's our full cart. And then we'll put a little piece of signage right here. And that signage will say, you know, beach lady at the beach by such and such meeting. And so there's our breakdown for our page. And so what this is going to allow us to do is have a whole bunch of space for text, for our story, for our narrative to move through. And we'll do some stamping here. Waiting over. So I've got this Macho paint palette. Macho. And I'll move this, spread this out a little bit. I'm getting that loaded up. And I'm going to cut it over here with this pal. To load it up together. Put that yellow in there. In the background. Why, Chris? Because. Just because. We know it's there. Now, we can also draw some more attention to it if we want, but for now, I just know it's in the image. When we get down into that orange, you're going to see it a little more clearly. But that recurring motif is triangles. Your new barbers are amazing, Dee Dee. She really did an art piece. Yes. So check that out. So because of the yellow that I've used, you can still see the drawing through it, which is fun. But you can see the yellow showing up better on that orange. So there's our 3 words. This is kind of a folky thing to do as well. The stamping here, it's just, kind of weird, impulsive, outside of the box thinking to use this recurring pattern. It's kind of a folky, folk-arty kind of a thing to do. So, all right. I could probably do one more. Yeah, that's fine. All right. So that's given us the entirety of our composition here. And it's sort of already established for us what the narrative is going to be. Give me a second. I'm going to blow dry this sucker. Lori's blow dryer. Pretty dry. All right. Any little still wet spots. Just champ them out. Not overly concerned about them. So now I get to decide what we're going to do next. So let's do this. I got an orange pen, an orange ballpoint pen. How is that picking up? Yeah, okay. So we're going to pull our lines out here. And of course, we can use, what do we got? What's the opposite of orange? Purple? No. Yellow and blue. Or yellow and red or orange? Blue. Holy camole. So maybe we can put some light blue into our composition because of the roots. So now it'll just be a case of going through what we've already established and pulling up all of our shapes and pulling up all of our lines and just giving it a little bit something more. We can start, putting some shadows and defining our lines a little more clearly so that it starts to form the image a little bit better. Switch up the colors every now and then, why not? There's no rules. The rules are the ones that you decide. That shoulder has to drop. Otherwise that arm is ridiculously long. So yeah, so that's the gist of it coming together. Am I missing? The only rule, there is none. What did I keep saying? Everything's mental, experimental. Yeah. So I'm pulling some of these lines back out that the yellow pushed back under. And get some of our details back in and a little more clarity in some areas, right? A little more definition. As much as we want. I'm not worried about it has to be a certain level or whatever for people. Yep. As much as we feel like right now. It's like our picture. Well, do our picture the way we want to do it. So just playing with outlines here. Get far more specific after, but yeah. So that's coming together okay. I'm pretty good with how we got things coming together here. Good job, Gene. For whatever reason, we'll go. The reason is because I picked these two pens up. These are the pens that I'm using to pass back and forth to bring line to this. Miriam says they'll burb. So, it's good with that, Chris. I know it is. Yeah, I'm pleased. I'm pleased. I hope that whatever it is that you're working on and whatever you're trying to tell a story upon us, that you just trust yourself. Just go for it. Have fun. Don't be too precious about it. You make mistakes, hey, erase them. If you can't erase them, incorporate them. Oftentimes, I'll put down some marks and go, yeah, those don't work. Well, I'm not going to throw the piece out. I'm not going to restart it. I'm not going to try to redo it on another piece of paper. I'm going to try to make it fit in. And the reason I'm going to try to make it fit in is because we don't have time to draw everything over again. We've got stuff to do. Put in some more shadows now. Now these are just our two basics. We can add some more color as we go. Some more line art. We can do some watercolor washes in here too. Why not? But for now, we're just redefining our lines using these two pens. Ricardo and Janice. All right. So we get this first one done. I think that if I'm going to bring in another ballpoint pen, it'll be a brown one. No, brown one, Chris. Yeah. Well, I hope that those look sandally. Back. William says back. All right. So the rules that I've set for myself is any of the areas that I'm outlining that have skin, I am doing the outlining with orange, and anything that's fabric or whatnot, furniture. Blue. Almost there. Almost done this first panel, and then we'll see what we're going to do for fun in a minute. Okay. So I've got to do the same sort of thing across the other panels as well. And there's our 4 beats. Putting the shoes on. Excited to go to the beach. So our dialogue, talk about that. Oh, my strap's broken. Oh, doesn't that just figure? Hey, maybe I can make some art out of this. And she's drawn a scene of the beach on her sandals. It's deep. It is a deep story. So we'll draw. Force a pyramid shape in the background here. some more lines. There doesn't have to be any logic or reasoning for why the yellow pyramids. We're playing into that sort of insertion of panel motif that a lot of folk art has in it. I make this reference about people painting on muffin tins, but there's a pretty impressive folk art that's been done, people painting on the bottom of muffin tins, so it's a real thing. Oh, it's that second pyramid. It's all right. It's crude. Maybe we'll come back into this area. Shapes with some watercolor and give a little better definition of form here than just this haphazard crosshatch. But there's our idea. One less pair of sandals, one more painting. That's exactly it. Okay, so there is, we've laid out our composition. We've got the structure for our story. And it's now just taking the rough pencils that we did before and just refining them. So we go over those lines and pull out that information. And then, we can increase the complexity of the visual image as we go by adding additional values. Like I can add a brown in here and I could use a bright red and do contour around the thing just to pull it forward from the background. There's a whole bunch of different things that we can do. But at that point, it's just allowing this experimentation of this repetitive triangle motif that's in there. We've hit our 3 marks for the 3 prompt words that are for this. So now it's just a case of finishing it off, getting it on there and posting it up so that, another day, another page. So it's a lot of fun. Just trying different things here today, working actually in my sketchbook. So, always something different, that's for sure. Tomorrow, I think I'm going to do something that's just straight on black and white in order to have a little bit of preparation for, what's it called? Inktober. Oh, I have something to show you. In addition to today's page that I put up, I also came up with a list for my my Inktober prompts. I thought I never do superheroes, I never do that. So I thought, why don't I do some interpretation of one of these abilities each day that fits into the the world of superheroing. So this will be my list for October, and I'll have to do some interpretation of these things each day. And there's some fun things in here, like how do I show precognition, right? How do I exemplify that? So the randomness of these things. How do I show somebody casting illusions? How do I illustrate those elements? And so there's actually quite a few bits of challenge to this. So that's going to be compelling, I guess. I'm going to be doing my page a day as well. So, but I'll do the page each day, and then I'll quickly knock off my Supertober list of Inktober images. So, yeah, this is my crazy list. If anybody else wants to do it, feel free to copy the screen and have fun. I don't even know how I'm going to do some of these things myself, so that's part of the reason of choosing them. So I'm looking forward to that. But I'll get this posted first thing in the morning so that everybody can see for today's page. So that'll be good. But there's our piece again. So said she's already has. That's fantastic. Okay, so that's I'm going to wrap it up for today. I got a couple things I want to get done and make some dinner for when Lori gets home. So thank you very much, everybody, for coming by. I'll get this done and get on to tomorrow. If you've got story ideas that you want to throw at me and challenge me to do, let me know. Tomorrow I'll be doing another grab from the bin from the London Comic Con suggestions. I don't know how many I have of those, but it's a lot. I can tell it's a lot of piece of paper. So we'll work on one of those tomorrow. But I think I might want to work in black and white, like straight black and white, because I don't think I've done that for at least a week, or maybe well, who knows? We'll see tomorrow. I'm going to change my mind anyways. But either way, a lot of fun. Miriam says, say hi to Lori. I'll do that. And thank you very much, Dee Dee and Miriam, everybody else that's come by. I hope you've had some fun and thinking outside the box and working with whatever your space has and pushing it forward into something new. But I will be back 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, EST, 11 a.m. PST, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now. Man, I put some brown in here.